No mind change, no life change. Like, that's it. That's the bottom line. And that sounds pretty heavy for people because they go, well, I just really want to change my body, my business, my relationships, whatever it may be. But I really don't feel like I need to change. Like, I just want this outside thing to change. Well, the big question is like, where are you actually experiencing anything, as you would say, is out there? It's all happening up here, right? It's all happening within your mind, and your mind is actually allowing information to come into your world based on who it is and who it thinks it is right now. That's it. So, unless you can actually change your mind and start to look for other things and experience different things in your mind first, nothing's going to change on the outside. And even if it does change, you won't even be able to see it. I want to give you a quick example of what this actually is that my son was wrestling last week, and he's just started wrestling, and he's really taken a beating with this wrestling because there's kids that have been wrestling forever there, and he's learning the techniques of wrestling, and he's not sure about what he thinks about it. It's forcing him to get into this position where he's just completely uncomfortable all the time, and he doesn't really know if this stuff is going to work. So he gets out there and he wrestles a kid, and the kid's been wrestling for a long time, and he gets on top of my son, which is a nervous position for him already. But my son actually reaches around like he's been taught. For some reason, in that moment, he reaches around the way he's been taught, and he grabs the kid's arm and he rolls the kid over. Now, the kid, like I said, has experience beyond what my son has. And the first thing that I saw on my son's face when he did that is he had a look of surprise on his face because in his mind, he wasn't thinking that anything that he was learning and doing was actually working. And then you saw like a shift happen, like the mind started to shift there. And then he goes, well, wait a minute, I can do this. Now, the next time he goes to do that move, he's going to expect something different. That was a change in his mind. Now, we can fast forward all of this stuff if we just focus on what it is that we need to change in our mind. And here's what it is: there's some form of a belief. That's when we say mindset. That's what it really is. Your mind is set to a certain point. It's a belief, an overall belief toward anything that you're trying to do with your business, your relationships, your money. It's all set there, and it's these multitudes of beliefs that make up that one belief of whether or not we actually think and feel something is possible for us. And a really simple way of putting this is that if you don't change your mind, if you don't change your belief, change your mindset, you change enough of those beliefs so that it becomes that you believe that this thing is possible for you, it's never going to happen for you. I like this example here is because people will say a very common one is they say, well, I don't have time. Like maybe they want to go get fit, or maybe they want to grow their business, and or even like I said, relationship. It's all the same. There's a belief set in there that says they don't have time. Very easy to see with fitness, but people will have with the fitness, they say, okay, I'm going to go get fit, right? And they have this belief that says I don't have time to do it, but they have this super strong desire, like my health is failing, I've gained too much weight, I can't move, I don't have energy. They have enough pressure there that they want to go do that. This is what most of the world is doing is they say, I'm just going to do it no matter what, right? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start trying to be fit, not addressing what's going on in the mind. If you don't change the mind, nothing's going to change. And here's how not having enough time plays out for that is that you say, okay, I'm just going to go exercise at this time. Like you pick a time, it's not the right time or whatever it is, you feel that way, but I have to do this thing. I have to do this thing, white knuckling their way to it. The belief that you don't have time will actually guide you to the places where you actually don't have enough time, where the distractions are the highest, motivation is the lowest, your energy is the lowest, everything doesn't work out, and it goes really, really badly because it's operating under the belief that you don't have time. Now, a person can only do that so many times. They'll start to go out there and then they'll meet that moment again. It doesn't work out. They meet that moment again. It doesn't work out. What's so crazy about that is that it's actually bringing them back around to that point of what they're actually believing. And they'll tell you later, like, gosh, I tried to do that for a couple weeks. Maybe they even held out for a month. And then they'll say to you, I don't have time. It was just a mess. It was a nightmare, right? You can't outwork that belief. And that's why the mind has to absolutely be changed before you can actually free up that space. Because the truth is for everybody, and I know this is a hard one for people to swallow, is that there is time out there. Most of the time, if you hear people say that they don't have time, if you listen long enough, they'll tell you that there was this 45-minute period over here where they were just sitting and they were waiting and they weren't doing anything. Maybe they were scrolling on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. Maybe they're playing a video game, but you'll hear it. you'll hear that there was time there, and it's not their fault. They don't need to feel bad about that. It's the belief that they didn't have time that did not allow them to see that time. So what do, right? We actually do the thing that's opposite and we start believing that we do have time. Just like my son, as he does that work, he pulls that person over, he starts to believe that that's going to work. He's going to start seeking that moment more. He's going to start taking that action more. So we start creating that space where we open up and we go, well, what is it like when I really do have time? Now, this applies to anything. This is why, like, it's really the mindset diagnostic thing that we do in the coaching is so powerful because we're able to listen to what people are sharing. This is what their belief is. And this is why we want to find those beliefs and start correcting those things because it doesn't matter how hard somebody works, that belief is always just going to take them back to that same spot. But once that belief goes, this is how we do it right here. We go, well, what is it like when you have time? Your imagination starts to span out and go, well, what is that like? You'll realize that it's blank in that particular aspect, fitness, mind, money, business, relationships. In that particular aspect, when you go, well, what is it like when I do have time? You're going to start to imagine what that's like. It's like, well, I show up, I feel the thing. It's not distraction. I'm able to get my work done. I feel really good about that. You're actually creating that space in there. And as you feel that, what that does is you press that down into your heart, as we'd say, or what we would call the subconscious. And what happens is that starts to open that area up. And then you start to realize out in your world, instead of doing the other thing that you were doing where you actually had the time, you'll see like, wait, this is that time to do the thing that I really want to do. And now it shows up. And now when you actually go out to do the thing, it doesn't show up the way it was before with the old belief. Like I don't have time, distractions, low motivation, no energy, doesn't work out. See, I didn't have time. It shows up like, wow, that just happened right now. And then as you do that, just like my son, you pull the arm over, you start to seek it more because you realize it actually is out there. And then you do that enough times, and then that just becomes, I don't have time gets replaced with that I do have time. We have a multitude of these beliefs that are actually holding us back from the thing that we really want to do. And we don't even know it because the world's not talking about what mindset is. They just say, well, you've got to have the mindset to do this thing, right? That's it. And then they move on. Here's the thing. Here's the workout that you need to do to lose body fat. Here's the wrestling workout. Here's the ways to grow your business. Here's the ways that you can't do those things because all of these beliefs are standing in the way like this, going, nope. I'm going to show you all the areas why this is not going to work. And it's not until we take those, we locate what those things are, and then we start to change those things that you can actually see yourself doing that stuff. And then you want to do it and your world opens up. So I hope if you've ever gone through these things, you've tried really hard in your life to do these things and you felt bad because you couldn't do them, like there was something wrong with you. I hope you can learn to let that go through these videos. When you hear me talking about this stuff, it's not your fault. Nobody's talking about this stuff. You really need to get to a space where you understand what these things are. This is why we have that diagnostic phone call with people. You know what? There should be a link down below. I know this is probably going to be a YouTube video where you can actually click on that. It's not a sales call. We won't even let you come into the coaching unless you say that you wanted to come into the coaching. We don't do that. I know that there's a ton of people out there that are selling everything, gadgets, gizmos, crypto, everything, and they're trying to get you backed into a corner. We don't do that. Mindset coaching doesn't work that way. It does not work until the person decides that that's what they really want to do, and we understand that these are the things that they need to overcome in order to get the life that they want. The diagnostic call really is just about finding those things so that you can begin working on them. Some people choose to go work on those things on their own. And other people say, no, that's really important that I have somebody by my side guiding me and showing me the ways to do those things so that I can overcome that because this result I've been wanting so long in my life, whether it's our health, wealth, business, relationships, whatever it is, and it's been evading me and I've not been able to do it. We have that diagnostic phone call and we find out what those things are standing in the way. And then we just, like I said, just one by one, start picking those things off and changing those things so that opens up this world. And you don't have to feel bad that you're not being able to do anything because nobody's talking about it. This is the thing that needs to be changed. You change your mind and then you can change your life. No mind change, no life change.